For purposes of a nominating speech, the chair wishes to recognize Ms. Judy Vila. Judy?
Good evening. Kind of like following an Olympic beginning. My name is Judy Villa, and I'm Vice Chair of the Cheshire Democratic Town Committee. Since all politics is local, tonight I want to tell you a little bit about my good friend, the next Congresswoman from Connecticut, Elizabeth Esty. I've known Elizabeth for almost 20 years. She's mom, an attorney, and a community leader, not a typical politician. Her experience, like many of ours, is grounded in Central and Northwest Connecticut and the values we share, community and accountability. Elizabeth has been active in our community as long as I've known her, from years as parent, volunteering in the classroom, a member of the library board, a volunteer for the League of Women Voters and the United Way, head of her church's Board of Trustees, and service on the Environment Committee of the Connecticut Community Foundation. Most importantly, Elizabeth Esty is a common-sense problem solver who knows that it's not enough to complain about the problems we see. She believes that it's up to all of us to hold ourselves accountable and to step up and fix problems. Elizabeth first ran for town council in Cheshire because many of us were frustrated with the school budget decisions being made. Cheshire at that time faced a town-wide war over school budget, pitting school parents against seniors. But Elizabeth worked to find common ground, pushing through one of the most generous property tax programs to help seniors stay in their homes while supporting our local schools. Not only that, but at a time when state spending and borrowing were ballooning, our town paid down debt, paid cash for capital projects, and established a formal rainy day fund. Elizabeth showed that we can fix problems when we listen to everyone, build on common interests, and never lose sight of what's important. Having served as a councilwoman myself, I'm in awe of her incredible ability to research issues and to build consensus by offering win-win solutions. Nobody works harder than Elizabeth. To put it simply, Elizabeth got things done, and she took that same spirit of community and accountability to Hartford as state representative for the 103rd District. When Pratt & Whitney closed a local plant laying off 1,000 skilled workers, Elizabeth helped lead the charge to secure early retirement packages and new job placements. Unlike many career politicians, Elizabeth wasn't about taking credit or holding press conferences, but rather stuck to the hard work of problem solving. We all know how broken Washington has become. Politicians are letting insiders and lobbyists write the rules instead of working for middle-class families. They're bickering and finger-pointing instead of listening and finding common ground. And they're seeking plenty of media exposure instead of seriously addressing the problems that affect all of us. Elizabeth Esty knows that we can't wait for Washington to fix itself. We need to take it upon ourselves to bring common sense and accountability to Washington now. This election is our chance to make that happen. The fact of the matter is, we need a representative who has the right experience to go to Washington as a junior member, do the hard work, break through the gridlock, and actually get things done. We need a representative who's been on the ground here in Connecticut, who understands what it means to Cheshire and Waterbury and all the towns in the 5th District when they pass laws in Hartford and Washington. We need another engaged and effective leader to follow in Chris Murphy's footsteps. This election is our chance to elect a congresswoman who gets it. And that's why I'm supporting Elizabeth Esty, and I hope you will too. Let's bring common sense and accountability to Congress. Thank you.
Madam Chairman, and almost as much time as members of the State Secretary. Make no mistake about it. This could be the most important convention I've ever been to or ever held in this district. The loss of this district, under certain circumstances, could give control of the Congress to Republicans and the Tea Party and paralyze this country for years to come. Think about it before you give away your vote today. The bad news is that the district is controlled by independents. Fully 44% of the registered voters in this district are not affiliated with either political party. We cannot win without them. The good news is that through smart politics, we can win anyway. History has shown us that many areas of the district, such as my town of Simsbury, and throughout the Farmington Valley, registration statistics have always been skewed against Democratic candidates. But even today, there are pockets of success. Mary Glassman is a Democrat who won as first selected in Simsbury after almost 4 decades of Republican control. And she's held that seat for more than 7 terms. How? How? By aggressively delivering her Democratic agenda and simultaneously delivering town budgets year after year with zero or minimal spending increases. She has demonstrated both fiscal responsibility and restraint at a time when people are hurting, and independents respect and gravitate to that. State Representative Linda Schofield of the 16th District pulled an upset victory after 70 years of Republican control and has kept that seat in successful. How has she kept that seat? By staying true to her Democratic roots while at the same time respecting the views and concerns of the electorate in the Farmington Valley by being a deficit opponent in Hartford and consistently showing fiscal restraint and responsibility. So coming back to today, we are facing a critical time in our country's history and a critical choice at this convention. We must win the seat in November, and we must nominate today the Democrat who can swing the most unaffiliated votes to the Democratic side. I believe Elizabeth Esty of Cheshire is that person. In Congress, Elizabeth will, as she has done all her life, fight for middle-class families by working to create new jobs, reduce the deficit, stand up for the environment, protect Medicare and Social Security, and fight attempts to turn back the clock on hard-won women's rights. We need a strong candidate this year who will be an advocate for our progressive values and at the same time appealing to independent voters to win in this district. Elizabeth is the only candidate before us today who, like Mary Glassman and Linda Schofield, has actually won elections in tough swing districts. In her first campaign for town council in Cheshire, Elizabeth helped flip the council from Republican to Democratic control in her first run, and in her first run for the State House, Elizabeth unseated a long-term Republican incumbent in a Farmington Valley-like district that was historically Republican and largely independent. As a state legislator, Elizabeth made her mark by advocating for smart budgets that help lead the effort to create green and clean tech jobs for the future while turning back 10% of her salary to the taxpayers in an effort to demonstrate the need to balance an out-of-control state budget. And not only are we going to need a strongly Democratic candidate respected and electable by independents, we're also going to need a strongly financed campaign that can go toe-to-toe with Republicans and their super PAC. We can't win with a campaign based on gimmicks and promises. We need a candidate who won't take this race for granted, who will work for every vote, and who won't forget where she comes from and who she represents. Elizabeth has proven that she can raise the resources and build the organization necessary to take on the Republicans. Thousands of people across Connecticut and across the country have invested in her campaign to bring common sense to Washington. She's shown that she's the only candidate who can spend resources strategically, ensuring that her campaign will be strong as ever through a primary and against Republicans in the fall. I think it's fair to say that there's only one candidate here who best fits the 5th district. That's Elizabeth Esty, and I am proud to second her nomination for Congress.
For the final seconding speech for candidate Esty, I'd like to recognize Lisa Peters.
Hi, I'm Lisa Peters, and I'm from Woodbury. I am the DTC chair in Woodbury, but I'm here tonight speaking personally on behalf of Elizabeth Esty. I'm proud to nominate Elizabeth Esty to be the next Congresswoman from Connecticut's 5th District, because she is the candidate to fix Washington and get our economy back on track. Elizabeth Esty doesn't just talk about the problems we face, she steps up to do something about them. When Elizabeth tells you she'll fight to create good-paying jobs, she's telling you as someone who grew up in a tight-knit, middle-class family who gained first-hand knowledge of the struggles facing small businesses through her father's manufacturing business. Elizabeth knows that reinvigorating manufacturing is the key to rebuilding our economy and a prosperous future for Central and Northwest Connecticut. She'll work with leaders in education, business, labor, and government to create effective vocational training and apprenticeship programs so our young people and displaced workers will have the necessary skills to get good-paying manufacturing jobs. And she will always fight to make sure we're giving employers every incentive to hire our veterans, because Elizabeth knows our heroes are more than deserving of our support, and heroes must always come before politics. She'll fight to protect women's health and reproductive freedom in Washington. She speaks as a lifelong advocate for pro-choice causes, who started volunteering for Planned Parenthood while in college. As an attorney, she wrote briefs defending women's reproductive freedom in pivotal Supreme Court cases. In Congress, she will stand up to the assault on Planned Parenthood by congressional Republicans and will stand up for women's rights. Tells you she'll defend Social Security and Medicare, she's speaking as someone who learned the importance of reliable Social Security and Medicare benefits early in her legal career, when she fought to keep disabled workers from being denied their benefits by bureaucrats. In Congress, Elizabeth will oppose any plan that ends Medicare as we know it, or forces seniors to entrust their Social Security to the whims of Wall Street. These benefits from a lifetime of hard work, and that a responsible nation does not abandon its senior citizens. But most importantly, Elizabeth will get things done. She'd rather do the work than get the credit. And unlike so many career politicians, she will never put petty political gains before the interests of the people she serves. What Mike and Judy have said is absolutely correct. This election is important, and we can't just nominate any candidate. With the stakes for our country so high, we need people in Congress whose commitment to the fight for Connecticut families is made up of more than words. We need more than another vote in Congress. We need another voice. We need to nominate Elizabeth Esty.